Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Game on Cloud 9 here, and today I'm here to bring you guys a new Bleach Chapter 555 prediction. Alright, now, the beginning of this week's chapter, of course, left off sort of where we were before, except we saw Busby and found out what he's doing, and of course, he did listen to what Chandu said and left him, after he said he had this, and clearly he didn't have this after dealing with Toshiro Hitsugai, my second favorite character. In fact, I actually saw two of my favorite characters in this week's chapter. So, from an enjoyment standpoint, I really like the chapter. And I'm pretty sure you can actually tell that. So of course, he's like surprised. He's just like, oh, like he said he can handle this. Oh well, And obviously, he turns around and sees, him for like Chengdu frozen in ice. Which I'm still kind of wondering whether or not he's actually defeated. And this chapter kind of hints to the fact that he may not have been defeated just yet. But before I get to that, obviously, I'm going to finish giving the synopsis. And from that point on, of course, we end up seeing, I think it was Bambietta Mastermind. Well, no, we saw Hitsugaya. And Hitsugaya, of course, after the whole holification thing and getting his actual Bankai back, it must have took a lot out of him. And you saw his Bankai start to crumble, and he ends up passing out. So, of course, we haven't really seen the true power of Hitsugaya yet. And the reason why I say the true power is because if some of you guys aren't really familiar with this or you don't really remember this being stated in one of the I think it may have been in, I don't know if it was in one of the Bleach data books. I know Kubo said this at some point, but basically during the time skip, Hitsugaya was supposed to have perfected his Bankai, like made it a lot stronger than it was like prior to that. So I feel like we haven't really seen everything his Bankai can like really do or its full extent at this point. So that part is a little disappointing that he's already like on the ground, flat out passed out. And I didn't really expect to see that early. I mean, I don't really feel like enough happened for him to be all like that. But hey, what are you gonna do? Now from that point on, of course, we see Bambietta, and she's pretty much just like tearing up everything in sight. Mainly due to the fact that her Stern Ritter friends for some reason decided to go hiding on her, and that kind of irritated her a lot. So she starts destroying buildings, destroying everything, and then there's like one panel where she straight up looks like she's like powering up like a Super Saiyan. Like no kidding. Like I'm got ready to say like Bambietta, like what happened? Like I don't know. I feel like all of a sudden her hair is about to sit up there and start changing, and we were about to get like 10 panels of her just screaming because that's the way it looked based on the way she was like drawn. Of course, they still don't really respond or, they don't do anything. So then that's when out of nowhere we see none other than Komamura actually show up. Which, by the way, we find out that all the other Stern Ritters actually lost their Bankais as well, which means Byakuya has his Bankai back. I guess Komamura does because she commented on how Komamura, or she said the doggy actually, her Bankai, the doggy, or her the Bankai left her and went to the doggy, and of course right after that, we even see, I think some of the other ones as well. We even saw BG9. Of course, he looked like he was kind of messed up, and we already know, obviously Silifon got her Bankai back because that's how he ended up getting shot with that missile. Although I don't think he's done either. So I don't know. I mean, how I really feel about the whole Bankai is getting taken and then the Shinigami already got it back, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I just kind of expected that they were gonna have to at least somewhat fight for their Bankais to get them back. Like kind of like it seemed that way a little bit with Hitsugaya, but it's not the worst thing in the world for me. From that point on, Komamura shows up, and once he shows up, of course, I have to say I don't like Komamura. The two characters in Bleach I don't like, probably will surprise some of you, is Soifone and Komamura. And Komamura, honestly, he gets owned so freaking much. I'm not trying to say based on ownage count that means I don't like a character. It's just he doesn't really have anything that I like really care about as far as like character wise. Like his characteristics are kind of dull to me. And as far as badassery, for me, he's not really that badass. But this week's chapter, I have to say, if you're a Komamura fan, that had to like amaze you, and because the way he just came down, the way he had the mask on, everything, even though you can't see his face, I have to say it just seemed badass the way the panel was drawn. He didn't really say much. Even Bambietta's like, kind of surprised at his appearance, and of course, he she goes ahead and says she's gonna like knock the basically the mask right off his face. And Komamura, how he showed up right at like the right time, like or actually showed up earlier than what a hero was supposed to show up. So I expect for him to do some crazy stuff later, especially now that he has his Bankai back. So because I actually thought she was going to use his Bankai against him, so now he has to be like uber powerful. So I expect a lot from him pretty soon, actually. Now, as far as from that point on, of course, we get my favorite character, Shinji Hiraiko, doing his thing, using his Shikai, Sakanade, and basically reversing everything around him. So Bambietta just starts getting messed up. I mean, he even seemed like he got stronger with his Shikai than when he faced Aizen, because he even started reversing his words. She couldn't even understand anything he was saying to a degree. So pretty much, obviously that messes with her head. And one thing I have to say that I always find kind of dumb when concerning Shinji, even though I like Shinji's my favorite character, why the heck would you tell someone how it works, man? It's like I feel like you would have a complete advantage if you don't even tell them how it works, even the slightest bit. You just make it seem like, hey, I'm just doing this. You don't know what the heck is going on. So of course, I mean that pretty much was his downfall with Eisen. So I don't know. Obviously, I think she's gonna figure it out somehow, just the same way Eisen did. Maybe not as quickly because we all know Eisen knows everything. But I don't know. I just never really liked that, even though um, I do like Shinji. Now, right after that, we see Juha Bach. He's just sitting down, chilling out, pretty much. Obviously, we know Juha Bach doesn't really have too much to worry about at this point. He's got all the cards in his favor. And he even comments to Uryu about how he knew basically they were going to do this, which I even predicted that Juha Bach knew that they were going to get their Bankais back. And we even find out basically from Juabak, the Quincies are actually, or the Sternritter to be more specific, are really excited at the fact that now they're actually going to use their final holy forms. Because I guess when they have the Bankai, they can't use their final holy forms. So it kind of makes me wonder, why did you steal their Bankai? But I guess maybe in some strange manner, it makes it easier for them, or maybe it messes with the Shinigami's heads a little bit. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out, why they actually took their Bankais in if they can't use them both in combination. But or maybe it just gives them a death that they feel like is the most fitting kind of death, like using your own powers against you, the same kind of pain that we had to deal with, that sort of thing. But of course, obviously, once he says that, then we start seeing the Stern Ritters start going into their final holy forms. Not all of them, but the ones that we all know about at this current time, because obviously there's a lot more of them out there that we haven't really seen yet. And obviously Hoshwald hasn't went final holy form, because I'm pretty sure if he did, he would be killing a lot of people. He'd probably be killing everybody off there. Because Hoshwald, I mean, he just seems overpowered to me. He hasn't done too much, but you can already tell. And the fact that he cut Ichigo's, like, I guess, weakened Bankai, I'm going to call it, her suppressed Bankai, in two with ease, I really think that's a testament to his power, because we've never seen anybody else in Bleach be able to do that. Not even Ukiura, and Ukiura is amazing to me. Um, Now, as far as of course, the end of the chapter when we saw them all go into their final holy forms, we also got a little bit of Urahara and Mayuri, and basically what that was is them getting a phone call from Ichigo. Now, as to what Ichigo says, we don't really know. But if I were to take any guesses about it, I'm definitely thinking that it has something to do with him not being able to come back right away. Now, before I jump into whatever that may actually involve or when Ichigo may show up, I'd like to actually go ahead and give you guys my overall rating for this week's chapter, and then I'll give you the full blown prediction. Now, as far as the pacing is concerned with this week's chapter, I felt like it wasn't really the pacing was pretty good. It wasn't that bad. We got a little bit of Hitsugaya. I kind of would have liked to see a little bit more of I guess I guess you would say, or I felt like there was too much of Heat, or not too much of Hitsugaya, but I felt like this chapter could have had more content in it. I felt like it went by a little too quick. As far as the middle part of the chapter where Komamura showed up, I felt like it did kind of give the chapter a little bit more spice to it, gave it a little bit more of a epic like feeling because that wasn't something I necessarily expected to see this soon. As Komamura showing up or coming right back, at this particular time. The artwork this week was pretty nice. The ending of the chapter, which I guess technically would go with the pacing, was on point in my opinion. It didn't take up too much. It was just at the tail end of the chapter. Of course, Ichigo calling in. Although it did kind of, if I were to try to play devil's advocate or try to be critical, I would say that this is kind of a typical Kubo ending. Like I noticed that Kubo a lot of times likes to end on these cliffhangers where somebody's getting ready to speak to somebody or somebody's like getting sliced across their chest or something like that. So I would say it's pretty much average, but I felt like, it didn't take up a huge space because a lot of times he'll use like an entire page or something like this versus it was only half of the page for this. So I don't really have too much of a problem with it. So pacing was decent. As far as artwork, always good with Kubo. For the most part, at least for me, it is. And as far as rating is concerned, I'm probably gonna give this. I don't know. I mean, Bleach has been stepping his game up. I haven't given it anything higher than a captain level rating, but I'm like captain level rating is actually really good. But I don't know. I'm waiting for it to waiting for a chapter where it just really just knocks me off my feet so I can give it a higher rating, obviously. But for this, I can't really give it that. So I have to give it just a captain level rating. I mean, that's pretty much all I'm willing to actually give it, considering that you know it was a pretty average chapter. Of course, I really enjoyed the chapter from a fan's point of view because of Shinji and Hitsugai just being in it. But maybe if we get some Bankais in a chapter, some big reveals, maybe that'll probably make me boost up the chapter rating a little bit more. But the captain level rating is actually really good. So that's the rating I'm going to give Bleach this week for its chapter. Now, concerning what I think is going to happen after this point, like where we're about to go with this, I think Ichigo obviously what he's calling about, he's going to let them know, it's going to be a while before I'm actually able to show up and help you guys out, due to maybe some extreme measures that Ichibei, the guy with the beads, the Royal Guard member, maybe training him through. I definitely think that, he's not just obviously sitting around up there, or he's probably showing him maybe some intense training methods so that he can master his Bankai and actually be able to use dual wielding blades. Hopefully Ichigo learns some new techniques other than Getsuga Tensho when he comes back, and this is the perfect opportunity for Kubo to actually introduce some new techniques for Ichigo. Even though this is the final arc, I definitely think it would be a nice touch for Ichigo to have at least one or two new moves just to go with his whole repertoire. So obviously the final battle when Ichigo fights against Juha will be very exciting and very fresh. I don't think it's gonna happen right away. We probably won't get the final battle for a while, but I do want to see when Ichigo enters battle for it to be very interesting. Now, as far as Urahara goes, I don't know when he's going to bring this whole Hollow Rebellion Squad in, and the reason why I say Hollow Rebellion Squad because we all know Grimjo is alive. I even think I haven't seen it yet, but I know Death Note guy even made a video about Grimjo lately. So if you don't know about Death Note guy Zero, definitely go check his channel out because I think he has some kind of theory video on Grimjo, and I'm pretty sure it's good. But pretty much, I think we're gonna obviously get an explanation from Ichigo. Ichibei's probably putting him through intense training, and with the final holy forms coming in, obviously the Quincy's are gonna push back the Shinigami a lot. I think this is when the real fights are actually gonna go down, but it's definitely not gonna be a walk in the park. So I definitely expect maybe I don't know if Soifon gonna die, but I know some people have been saying that they think she's gonna die. Maybe she will. That would be probably not a bad death on the table for this particular war. I hope Shinji does not die, but there's always that possibility too. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Komamura, I don't see him dying since this is probably going to be his shining moment with him getting these new powers. But again, there's always that possibility. With Shinji there, he needs to go Bankai and put on his hollow mask. But they're obviously not going to probably give him as big of a shining moment because we didn't see him go through any intense training coming into this particular fight. So I don't really know what to expect as far as deaths are concerned, but I definitely can almost guarantee the fact that we're probably going to get some pretty nasty epic fights for the next few chapters, but the Quincy's are probably going to end up being the winner of most of them due to the fact that we have to, obviously Kubo wants to raise the sense of danger of how powerful these Quincy's are right now. Otherwise, if they're just knocking them off like flies right now, then it won't really leave you for as much excitement towards the final battles. You always want to raise the sense of danger rather than lower it because, of course, if we feel like the Quincy's are nothing, then it's not going to really seem like much of a threat. Therefore, you're probably not going to find it that entertaining because you already know the all your favorite characters are going to live through the ordeal with no problems. So I expect, you know, maybe even a few deaths within the next few chapters. Maybe even Hisagi will show up and try to fight a little bit, but maybe Kensei will die. Who knows? You know, what I mean, because we all know Kensei and Hisagi were also training, and we know Hisagi was supposed to also get some sort of Bankai soon. But anyway, these are pretty much my thoughts on this week's Bleach chapter. Leave a comment down below or tell me what you guys think about this chapter and you think about this prediction. Spread it around if you want to. That's pretty much it. Also, if you're interested in checking out or coming to, I should be more specific about it, YumaCon 2013. It's a convention that's happening in downtown Detroit on November the 1st through the 3rd. If you want to hang out with Tachi, Death Note Guy Zero, the Elite Ace, and myself, then you can check out that video down below to see about maybe coming to it if you're somewhere near Michigan or you just have oodles of money and you want to fly all the way down here for next week and hang out with us. And if you do, just let me know, send me a PM, and that's pretty much it for this video, guys. So, anyway, see you later.